All right, let's get started by making all of this to be dynamic. So let's first of all delete all of these blocks within section here, so we can start by adding one by one properly. So we have created the heading block, and let's go and add it. But when you double check, there is no settings here. So let's go first, create the settings for that. What we need is just a way to have a dynamic text that can change here. I will first I will go to my first object inside the blocks array here. So this is our heading, and we need to add the settings input here. So this, again, remember, this one is exactly like what you have here. No difference at all. So let's go. We're gonna add an object, and the type is going to be text. This is mandatory from Shopify. We cannot just create our own type. The ID, we can give it any name you want. Let's say heading. You know what? I will give it different ID because I just see it looks the same like the type. Let's call it block heading, and let's give it some label, and let's call it heading title, let's say, or just heading. And we can give it some default text, even the info if you want to. And we can say here heading FAQ. Let's save it. For now, I'm not going to access anything. I just want to show you how to do that. So for now, as you can see, there is no settings here. But when I reload the page, we're going to be able to add a dynamic heading here. They're going to replace this one. So let's do the same for the description. So I'm going to add the description. And again, even here, there is no settings. So let's go add it. So I will close the first block and open the second one, which is the description one. And we're going to add also here an object, and the type must be, so here we have like three choices. We can use rich text like this, or we can use inline rich text, or we can use even text area. The differences between those is the text area is just a text area without the formatting. The rich text is coming with a bunch of formatting text. The inline rich text is with less formatting. So I will use the rich text, doesn't matter. And the ID, let's call it block underscore description. And let's give it a label. Let's call it description. And we can leave it like this. If I save it, and again on the description block, we have no settings when I reload the page. And there you go. So we're gonna have a input settings of rich text here with some formatting, and we are good to go. So next, let's add question and response. Let's save it. And as you can see, there is no settings either. Okay, so we need to go back, reduce the description object, and open this question and response object. And we're going to add the settings here. So what do we need inside this one? So if you come to our code, you pay attention. So we have the question, okay? And we have the answer here, okay? So we're gonna have like two inputs. So this one could be a sample text input, and this one could be either rich text or inline rich text or text area. It's really up to you. So we're gonna have two inputs for this block, question and response. So let's create the first one. Is going to be type of text because it's going to be just for the title for the question. So let's give it an ID. Let's call it block question like this, and let's give it some ID, some label, which is going to be just question, and let's give it some default here. If you want to know whether or not to add default or what attributes some type settings do have, refer to the documentation. Okay, you're gonna have like more understanding. So the default here, let's call it just question, and then yeah, so if I save it and I go check, now we have no params here. If I reload, we're going to have the first input settings here. So we have the question as a label, and this is our default text. Okay, so now let's go and add the response. So just below, again, still we are in the question and response object. So we add the first settings here. Now let's add the second one because we just need two for this block here. So the type This time I'm gonna give it rich text because we need some formatting, or we can even use inline rich text just to show you. So let's go inline rich text. Let's give it some ID. So the ID, let's call it blog response. And then the label, let's give it response. And I'm not gonna give any default here. When we save it, we go check. We have no response input here yet. If I reload and watch on the right, and we're gonna have the response input right here. All right, so this is how you're gonna create input settings for each blocks. And now let's go and make it dynamic.